Hello friends, I'm greetings for the day. Welcome back to another tutorial on ISTQB Advanced Web Test Analyst Certification. We are in Chapter 3 talking about experience-based testing. And today we shall be continuing with some deep discussions on the test charters, trying to understand what it takes to have test charters as a part of our experience-based testing. At foundation level, we have covered a lot of techniques under experience-based testing and understood that experience-based testings are also helpful in identifying different defects than that of the formal testing. Of course, experience-based testing includes techniques like error guessing, exploratory testing, checklist-based testing, where exploratory testing makes use of test charter, where test charter is basically a log sheet which contains information related to all sort of details what an exploratory testing consists of, and certainly helps the test engineers give an alignment that what exactly are the different scenarios which we are looking for to perform during the exploratory sessions. So when it comes to exploratory session, most of us think that it is documentless execution. Answer is absolutely no. We do have documentation, but certainly a high-level documentation. In fact, the test cases are also created, but high-level, letting the test analyst have the freedom to choose any kind of data, the process, but the business use case remains the same. So it could be just a high-level scenario which helps them to define what exactly needs to be tested, but have the freedom to choose the inputs, the data, and try them in different manner. Now, to talk about that a little deeper, we would just like to have a quick conversation about the test charters in detail, because test analysts are someone who are responsible to create and maintain the test charters for exploratory sessions. So first of all, of course, to give you an introduction and exploratory testing, which is in exploratory testing, a test charter provides the mission of test session, and of course, which outlines its scope, objective, information such as limitation, timelines, and risk. It also serves as a roadmap for testing, providing structure to the test sessions, where test charters helps a TA stay focused on specific areas or features to be tested while allowing them to be flexible to explore the system when necessary. And also, the test charter does not specify the test suite that will be executed in the test session, which makes it pretty much clear that the test charter is not a collection of test cases. Rather, it is more of like a high-level objective, what you're trying to achieve through the different test sessions. But at the same time, we would like to understand what exactly are the various considerations when a test analyst takes care of while creating a test charter. So let's understand that right here. Of course, the very first thing when we talk about the considerations, the number one thing is customer and requirement factors, which certainly represents that when it comes to requirements elicited from the clients, business use cases for the system, quality requirements, and user journey maps, which is user interaction with the system over time, which simply clarifies that there are requirements which are taken into consideration. It's not a blind execution, it's not a random execution, it's more of like a very systematic approach of execution, but of course with freedom to choose the inputs from. Okay, the business use case would remain the same, the requirement would remain the same, will be pretty much aligned to it, but just that we have the freedom to try different input data. Also, the second important factor which we consider is the product factors, which include things like functional flows, principal goal of product, product features, software design, and interfaces. And the third one, of course, is the project management factors, which are how much time is allowed, the project purpose, estimated effort, and business value. Remember, anything which happens in testing is support to add the value to the project. It certainly does not need to be executed just because we have time. Okay, sometimes the constraints are also important in terms of time. That means if you are running out of time, exploratory testing could be of great help, saving some of your time, but yet effective at identifying defects. So put together, a test analyst certainly should build a test charter in a way that it consists of mission that describes the test objective and various additional information which guides the test analyst to achieve the goal of conducting exploratory testing. Now, the next question which comes to our mind at this point of time, that though we have understood what is a test charger, what kind of information can be included? And that is where we would like to talk about the information which can be included here. So when we talk about the information to be included as a part of test charter, here is a list of those information which we can actually include. But of course, it's not a comprehensive list. Depending on your context, depending on your product, you may have your own elements included in the test charter. So depending on your organization policies or even the product and project characteristics, you may have anything else also included as a part of it. But namely to say, we are talking about the organizational information, which includes many things like start date, time, testers' names, etc. The core objective of the session, that means in this session, what are you trying to achieve? The motivation of the test, the mission of the test charter, the overall scope, like what areas are of interest within the system, the test level being conducted, the test techniques being leveraged, the test ideas, exit criteria, priorities, what the test charter is supposed to cover, and a description of what will not be tested. That means in scope and out of scope, both of these things would be included in the test charter so that during the execution, the team or the test analyst doesn't get shifted from the focus. Also to add here, of course, the entry criteria would be a part of it when to get started. Product-oriented information, including definition, data, workflow among components, the system architecture, and any other limitations. Also description of the environment, because of course each session is subjected to a particular test environment for execution. So I must be very much clear with that this session is happening in which environment. On the other hand, of course, existing data sources, product information, and test tool, historical information, if any, which would help us to achieve the goal, like compatibility, interoperability defects, current open questions that refer to existing anomalies, which will guide your way to conduct the session-based testing. The reason is, I'm not blind and I'm not blank when I'm interacting through session-based testing. I'm not purely ad hoc. It's just that it is more systematic with a freedom. So of course, we are aligned with something which is well known to us. We are aligned with something which we have seen earlier, or what kind of activities are more important to take into account. And finally, the constraints and the risk, which are regulation, rules, or standard use, everything would be a part of it. So that means though we conduct the session-based testing, which looks a little informal, it is pretty much very systematic approach of identifying defects in the system. So that basically puts together that what exactly the need of test charter is and how exactly test charter can be leveraged when it comes to exploratory session executions. So that's all from this particular tutorial, team. Should you have anything else, feel free to comment below. I'm always there to address your queries and answer them well. Till then, keep learning, keep exploring, keep understanding the context. Thanks for watching the video, team, and happy learning.